Hello and welcome to another TLDR EU video. To say countries were underprepared when COVID hit is putting it mildly. Countries were on the back foot and certainly made mistakes. Some countries in Europe were initially hit particularly hard, especially Italy, at one point considered Europe's hotspot. In a report by the World Health Organization, Italy's response was slammed as improvised and chaotic. The report lasted just a matter of hours on the WHO's website before being pulled, a report we managed to get our hands on. So in this video, we're going to delve deeper into that report, why it was pulled, and what Italy's response to COVID actually entailed. If you didn't know already, we've made a whole bunch of pin badges, including our countries with shoes designs, and there's now one for every single EU country, as well as a whole bunch of others, and of course Italy. We ship to pretty much anywhere, and a lot of European countries can still get orders delivered by Christmas. You can get 15% off any purchase by using code ITALY. The link to the store can be found below. Before we delve into the report, let's set the scene and remind ourselves of just what a pivotal position Italy played in the pandemic. According to a new study by the Italian National Cancer Institute, coronavirus was already circulating throughout the population from September 2019, but it was only in February that the first official death was recorded. And that's when case numbers began to explode, especially in the north. By the end of February, the UK Foreign Office was already warning against all but essential travel and requiring people returning from 11 towns in Italy to self-isolate upon their return home. By the first week of March, some 16 million people were placed into quarantine. Schools, gyms, museums and nightclubs were all ordered to close, and people were required to seek special permission before travelling. All in all, making the quarantine, according to the BBC, the most radical action taken outside China. Well, at the time at least. By mid-March, COVID was accounting for nearly 50% of all Italian excess deaths from any causes, a figure which only slightly declined to 36% by April, continuing to lag way behind in the most affected Italian regions. In turn, Italy became the ideal country for the WHO to take a step back and analyse which part of their responses actually worked, hence the report. Published on the WHO's website in May, the report makes for some quite damning reading. Titled, An Unprecedented Challenge, Italy's First Response to COVID. And it was prepared by the WHO's European Office for Investment for Health and Development in Venice during the midst of the first wave. And the report doesn't take long before criticising Italy's preparation. On just the second page, the report stresses that Italy wasn't totally unprepared, having built response plans in the aftermath of the SARS outbreak in 2006. The plans, however, remained more theoretical than practical, with little investment or translation into concrete measures. The report then took direct aim at the regional nature of Italy's response to the virus, specifically targeting the implementation of the Test, Track and Isolate scheme. The report noted that while the overall principles and criteria for the strategy had been formalised in a prime ministerial decree, each region proceeded to organise implementation in its own way and at its own pace. While the likes of Lombardy, a region extremely badly hit by the first wave, followed national policy in limiting testing to symptomatic cases, the region of Veneto took, in their words, a more proactive approach to case finding through extensive testing, mobilising funds to expand its testing capacity and moving aggressively to find cases in the community, confirm them, trace even the most fleeting contacts and test them all. The report continued not to mince its words when it came to hospitals, stating that unprepared for a flood of severely ill patients, the initial response of the hospitals was improvised, chaotic and creative. A tone that continued for some time. Hospitals in the north of Italy were faced with a flash flood of severely ill patients entering emergency departments. The effect was chaotic and destabilising. At the peak on the 3rd of April, there were 4,068 patients in ICUs. The 2,842 patients in the north of Italy corresponded with 113% of the total number of ICU beds pre-COVID-19. Regions saw huge gaps in demand and supply of ICU beds, a situation none have ever envisaged. The report also highlights the both positive and negative aspects of communication at the height of the pandemic. As early as January, the media began reporting on how exactly to keep yourself safe from the virus, the issue being that some of the advice wasn't exactly the best. According to the report, advice varied from use a mask to don't use a mask, from stay away from others, don't hug and kiss, to this is just flu. Social media was also targeted for its false claims, including the ridiculous claim that a cup of warm milk and honey will make it go away. Only when the so-called red zones were introduced in March did the Ministry of Health and Civil Protection Department really step up its communication campaign, pushing a focus on hand hygiene, travel advice, the use of masks and working from home, messages that were quickly echoed in the media. And only then in March did the moving averages when it comes to case numbers finally begin to fall. So what's all the fuss? A report on Italy's mistakes was published. So what? Well, the report was published on the 13th of May, but was removed the very next day without any warning. So the Italian government and media kicked up a storm, and the backlash forced the WHO to take down the report and reconsider. Well, that might be the story you're expecting me to tell here. After all, the Italian government can't have been over the moon about this scathing report. However, it seems that in the one day it was online, it was pretty underreported and didn't attract a whole lot of attention, at least not publicly. So what could cause a major institution like the WHO to backtrack so obviously? Well, according to the Financial Times, the World Health Organization issued no public statement at the time to indicate that it had withdrawn the report or explain why. That's it. That's all we knew. The only real article about the report was saying that it had been taken down and couldn't explain what the errors it contained were. But we're not ones for letting things go. I mean, we're the same team who emailed the EU to find out why they put weird, sparse, asymmetrical flower arrangements in the middle of their otherwise quite beautiful and modern council meeting room. They never got back to us, and I swear my soul won't be able to rest until we finally find out who puts that clutter there and why. We will make this video one day, I swear. So, as you'd expect by this point, we actually reached out to the World Health Organization for a full explanation. And in a written response to our inquiries, a WHO spokesperson confirmed that the report had been removed from the website within hours by the WHO's European office because it contained inaccuracies and inconsistencies. While it was offline, a decision was taken to instead use a new mechanism created in the early months of the pandemic aimed at helping member states conduct intra-action reviews and assess their COVID-19 response. The document was therefore not republished. We understand that the issuance and subsequent removal of the report caused confusion, and we have updated our publishing procedures accordingly. The issue being that what the WHO told the FT doesn't seem to be the full story. In a written response to the Financial Times, the lead author of the report affirmed, "Never in 9 months was I told that the report had inaccuracies or inconsistencies. Before publishing even a short piece for the internet, there are several tiers of approval at the World Health Organization, and rounds of comments to grant technical soundness and corporate consistency." 3 other World Health Organization officials confirmed to the FT that the report had been formally approved on the 11th of May in a meeting chaired by the WHO's Director of Global Infectious Hazard Preparedness. We reached out to the WHO to confirm this ourselves, but at the time of writing, we're yet to receive a response. So, what do you think? Was the WHO right to pull the report? Are the alleged findings of Italy's response wider spread issues that countries around the globe need to bear in mind? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified every time we release new videos. Special thanks to our Patreon backers who make videos like this one possible. And if you want to see your name at the end of videos, then you too can back us on Patreon. The link to that's in the description.